everyone. Welcome to the Park Mapping Podcast. I'm Bruce, and this is Harbor. And today we are going to be ranking our Disney World coasters, our favorite coasters.
That's right.
So I know it took me a while to come up with this list. I think my wife and I were at dinner the other night after we came up with the idea, or I guess you came up with the idea. Mm-hmm. But it probably took me a good 45 minutes at dinner to come up with this list.
Wow, yeah.
So I put a lot of thought into it, probably for some unconventional reasons. I know earlier when I sent it to you, you were kind of surprised on how different they were. So.
Yeah, I think we're going to have some hot takes here because we made our own lists and then I combined them. And yeah, there's some interesting, it's got an interesting ranking. So I think we'll make some people happy. We'll make some people mad too, though. We'll see what happens.
And I have a feeling at the end of this, some of my list might tweak a little bit, but we'll see.
That's right.
All right.
Okay. Okay, first I want to hear about this. Sorry, I'm going to throw this on you.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I want to hear about that. Where'd you find that MGM shirt today? I think that thing looks so cool.
So we went thrifting today. Well, my wife went thrifting and I tagged along, but she found an original MGM Studios t-shirt from, I think it had the tag on it from like 86 or something like that.
Yeah. Which means that it was like printed as like a promo because the park wasn't open in 87 and opened in like 89.
Yeah, it was old. I mean, well, unless that, who knows? It was handwritten on there.
Yeah.
The person that was selling it might have gotten the wrong year, but they wanted like $65 for
That's
it,
insane.
So.
That's nuts. It could be 87 though, because I was looking at it and it says, Disney MGM Studios theme park. Mm-hmm. And I think there was a time where when they first announced Disney MGM Studios, it was like, this is a studio tour. It's a tour. It was like a half-day thing. And then like halfway through the development of it, they were like, oh, we need to open an entire theme park. So then it was like they had to tell everybody, no, this is a theme park. This is a whole day experience and a half day.
Oh.
So I don't know. I mean, I'd have to really look that up and maybe do some research, but it could be 87 as like this kind of promotional piece to get people to, excited for the third park that was going to open at Disney World.
And it's possible I just absolutely have the date wrong. So, but it was definitely in the 80s.
It's possible they just they thought they could get another like $30 out of those 2 years.
Well, yeah, because you sent me an image after that of a gentleman wearing a sweater version of it, which I thought I'd rather have the sweater.
Well, it was Michael Eisner.
That was Michael.
That was Michael Eisner. Yeah,
I didn't realize that was Michael.
I should have texted you that. My bad.
I didn't know because I know what present day Michael Eisner looks like. I didn't know what an 80s version of Michael Eisner.
He lost a lot of hair between the 80s and now. So yeah. I imagine running the Disney company is not an easy job. So I understand how that might have happened to him.
All right.
All right.
You want to get into some state of the parks?
Yeah.
Here?
So a couple updates on what's going on at Disney World. So first of all, I think it was announced last week, Disney is offering a 2 and 3 half-day theme park tickets this summer. And, ticket types, doesn't seem like very exciting news, but I do think this is interesting because I can't remember a time they ever offered half-day tickets for theme parks.
No.
So these are good after 2 p.m. And I'll just go through the information here. So these are available for dates from May 26th to July 29th, 2026. They're good after 2 p.m. They are date-based, and you don't need reservations, unlike some of the other special offer tickets they do. Starts at $116 a day. Now, that's the cheapest. Of course, that's going to change depending on, the actual dates that you book. And I went ahead and looked at them a little bit just to kind of get an idea of how much money are you actually saving by going after 2 p.m. And so you're saving about, let's see. So a half-day ticket for 2 days is $273. And a standard ticket's $342 for 2 days. So you're saving, it's $136 a day compared to $171 a day. So if you don't mind not going to the park until 2 p.m., it could save you some money.
They have a very odd, I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's like a a season pass to like Epcot only, and it's like Epcot
Yeah.
after 4 or something like that.
Oh, really?
I'd have to look it back
Yeah.
up, but it was even. I mean, obviously, it's only for Epcot, and it's only after a certain time. But it was like a season pass just for.
Huh. That's crazy.
And I think, it was dirt cheap. I'd have to look it up. But
Yeah.
It was, I mean, not something I'm interested in.
I
but
think
thought-
they were doing a ticket that was like, I think it was only Epcot and Animal Kingdom or something like that. It was like half the parks, and the two that, well, I don't know, because Epcot actually is the second busiest park in Orlando. So I don't know why that. Maybe just because Epcot has more space for people to actually go, run around, whereas Hollywood Studios and Magic Kingdom have kind of the most demand as far as like rides go.
Yeah.
So I guess that kind of makes sense. But anyway, so these tickets, yeah, you could save some money if you don't mind going that late. And I'll add in, I wouldn't use these for Animal Kingdom because Animal Kingdom usually closes at like 6. So that's $136 a day for 4 hours a day. That's probably not the best deal. And then they're doing one for 3 days as well, and it's around the same savings. But I will note, if you live in Florida, a 3-day Florida resident ticket is around $372, and that after 2 ticket is $398. So if you're going for 3 days and you live in the state of Florida, don't bother with the 3 days. If you have 2 days, I guess you're hanging out around Orlando and you're like, I just want to go like see the fireworks or maybe like ride Tron at night. Maybe not such a bad deal. So anyways, the next big announcement here is that, so last episode we talked about some of the new things that are going to be opening over the summer. And we said that Big Thunder was going to open sometime in early May. We now have the actual opening date, which is May 3rd. So Big Thunder Mountain is reopening on May 3rd. The other big part of this news is that somehow they were able to change the height requirement from 40 inches to 38 inches. So, and again, the ride got a new track, has a new kind of like ride system, updated effects, things like that. But good news if you have someone in your party who is around that 38 inches. This is, I believe, like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is the same height requirement, like 38 inches.
Okay.
So it's around that. So it kind of goes into the family coaster bucket of offerings, which I think is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it must have something to do, because we talked about this last time too, about the track possibly giving like a smoother ride experience.
Sure.
So, I mean, because that thing does thrash you around, or did. I'm super. So we go the first week of June.
Yeah.
So it's probably still going to be one of the, like, anytime that a ride gets renovated or changed or anything, it's like the hottest thing forever. So we'll probably have to.
You got to book that Lightning Lane ahead of time.
I became a Lightning Lane guru.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I haven't been since. We didn't go last year. I think it was the year before that was the last time we went, because we switched over to the Disney cruises for a little while to try that out. But yeah, I was getting up every morning, and I think you still kind of have to. They make it a little bit easier now, from what Monica was telling me. But before, I was having to get up at like right at 7 a.m. or something like that and start booking it, because there was a trick to where you could book your first one, because there was two things. The two caveats to the whole thing was like you could never have more than 3 at a time, but like once either you rode your first ride or a certain amount of time went by, then you can book another one. So if you booked it at 7 a.m., by the time you got to the park, that first time limit had expired, and then you can go ahead and book another one. So, yeah. So
now it's, I think it's been like this since 2024, because I've only used Lightning Lane Multipass once, and you can book it. If you're staying off property, it's 3 days before your park day. If you're staying on property, it's 7 days. So you don't have to get up at 7 a.m. the day of your trip, or like the day, but a 7 a.m. a week earlier, which for us is 6. So that I remember having to get up and book our Lightning Lanes, which I'm not a huge fan of Lightning Lane Multipass, but that'll be a topic for another podcast, I guess. Yeah. So May 3rd. Look forward to it. Last thing on here, and this isn't an official Disney announcement or anything, but this is from Blog Mickey, and construction has started on the Monsters Inc. coaster layout. So this is the door coaster that's coming to Disney's Hollywood Studios. They've been working on the foundation for the ride, for the show building for a while, but it's starting to go vertical. So I believe what they do is they actually install the coaster first, and then they build the ride building around it. But we're starting to see supports put out for the coaster, which is a pretty big step here. And this is, and just if you haven't seen this, this is an actual expansion of the park, because the coaster is going to be built in part of the old parking lot.
Yeah.
So Muppets Courtyard, they are transforming that into Monstropolis. They have not told us what is replacing Muppet Vision 3D yet, which makes me a little worried. But it's good to see that this is making progress. I know that the rumor is that it's supposed to open around 2028. And I almost wonder if this is going to be ready by maybe the end of 2027. Now, I don't know. I'm sure there's a ton more work to do, but I know that like the old Muppets Courtyard, they're like getting through it pretty quick as well, like tearing all the old facades off and kind of getting everything ready to open as Monstropolis here pretty soon. So
I am very excited about this one, because after I went to the link in the show notes and saw the blog you were talking about, and then I followed up with a different one that actually had aerial photos.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty cool. But I was looking at some of the concept art, and because the whole idea for this coaster is you're hanging from the, you're suspended from the track, you're seated, but you're supposed to be like almost like you're moving along with the doors.
Yeah.
The one thing that the concept art shows, like Sully and them like hanging onto a door next to you. So I was wondering if it was going to be interactive in the fact that like there's going to be like some kind of visuals, or if that was just for the
concept art, because you never know with that concept art.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's been rumors that there's a Monsters Inc. ride at California Adventure in Disneyland, and they're closing that I think next year, because they have an Avatar expansion plan there, and I've heard there's rumors that they're going to reuse those animatronics for Orlando, so that's possible. I think I also saw somewhere that there's going to be a lot of like smoke and mirrors, literally, like they're using mirrors to make the warehouse look giant, when you're looking at it. But I imagine we'll see some animatronics in there somewhere. Have you ever seen? I know neither of you haven't been to Epic Universe, right?
No.
Okay, neither have I. But I've seen videos of the Donkey Kong coaster.
Yeah. And
they have kind of some similar show scenes. And this is more of a minecart type coaster, where you have like these like close calls with Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong in the minecart. So I wonder if you could see some scenes like that where you have, Mike and Sully.
I would imagine
in the coaster. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Again, concept art is concept art, and you never really know. But that's what it looked like. But I was just thinking when you were saying all that, it'll be fun to because you'd mentioned a ride that's not at Disneyland anymore.
Yeah.
I want to do an episode on like defunct rides. You did a post today that had mentioned basically the oh my gosh, what were you I
was talking about the Carousel of Progress. Yes. But they almost I almost wonder if we do an episode on this. Yeah, they were at some point they were toying around with replacing the Carousel of Progress with a flying saucers ride. And they had done that before in Disneyland.
Well, and then with the Luigi's flying tires, like that was short-lived, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've never rode it, but I guess it was so short-lived. I never even heard of it until I saw your post today. I was like, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
But it only lasted 2 or 3 years,
something like that. So. Yeah, and it was the same reason why they closed the original flying saucers. So man, I'd love to get into actually. If we're talking about the Monsters Inc. ride at California Adventure, that used to be Superstar Limo, which is one of Disney's most famous. People say it's the worst ride they've ever made. Have you ever seen anything about Superstar Limo?
No.
Okay, we'll have to do a deep dive on that because it's insane. Yeah. It's the worst. It's basic. To sum it up, it's it's a dark ride full of really bad characters of B-list Hollywood actors.
Okay.
It's awful, and so go home and look that up on YouTube. It's terrible.
Sounds great.
All
Check
right.
it out.
All right.
All right. So I guess we'll get into the main part of the show here, right? We're
Yeah.
going to be ranking our coasters. Now, there are 9 coasters across all the parks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we want to list them all out right here, but we took a lot of things into account here. What were some of your criteria?
So I was realizing as I was going over my list that I like thrill rides. Like, I was bummed. I almost thought, we should do like a coaster list of Orlando, but honestly, I haven't been to a lot of the other Orlando parks in a long time. Like, I haven't been to Universal since Velocicoaster opened, since Hagrid's. I haven't been to Epic Universe yet, and all of those I would love to ride at some point. But I was like, man, I can't really make a list that includes, Universal coasters and SeaWorld coasters, even though those are the types of, like, if I'm looking at just a roller coaster, I'm like, yeah, I would love to include something like the Hulk at Islands of Adventure. I love that ride. But Disney coasters for me are different because there's so much story involved. And I kind of realized as I was making my list, it's like, yes, I want the roller coaster that has the most thrill, but I also want the story around it. And the ones that were the lowest were the ones that were either lacking the story or they were lacking the thrill. But I would say I prioritized story over thrill, I would say. Whereas, like, if I was going to look at somewhere like a Universal, I might rank the thrill heavier because they just push those thrills a little bit more. There's one coaster that has an inversion at Disney World, whereas like half of them at somewhere like Universal or SeaWorld, they have lots of inversions and stuff.
Yes. And that's why I can never get my children to ride that ride.
Yeah, exactly.
And one was because they hadn't really been tall enough. But Mila, my oldest, she's about to be 13. She's been old enough to ride some of those crazy rides for a while. I can't get her on it.
Yeah. And I think they do that purposefully. I know that there's talk about, what's going to be at Villains Land when Villains Land opens. And in that, again, we're talking about concept art before. In that original concept art, there's a coaster that looks like it would have inversions. And now there's talk about, like, well, are they going to actually do that? Because if they have one like that, they're not going to get as many people on that coaster, because that's kind of it makes it a no deal for a good chunk of people who are like, I'm not interested if it goes upside down.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's kind of where I was. But like you said earlier, we do have some that we really agreed on, especially in the middle, but the ends were very different.
Yeah.
It's wild. Yeah. So.
Well, yeah, because my criteria was, I did base it somewhat on thrill level. Some of it was nostalgia for me. Some of it is, just the ride experience in general. But yeah, we'll get into it here. I got to pull up my list on my phone because
sure.
I made myself some
notes,
some short notes, very short notes on why. But so how you want to do this? You want to start with just you want to read off the coaster and then see where we placed it?
Sure. Okay. Yeah, let's start with, so again, we made our own lists and then I put them together as just a kind of a comprehensive ranking here. So we're going to start with our number 9, which is probably no surprise to anybody that number 9 is the Barnstormer. And this is, and I'll read the description. I just took the descriptions from the Disney World website here. So for the Barnstormer, it says, take flight above Storybook Circus with Goofy and a homemade stunt airplane for a thrilling junior roller coaster ride. So yeah, and this is considered like a junior coaster. It's in the Storybook section of Fantasyland and Magic Kingdom. It only has a height requirement of 35 inches. This was opened on October 1st, 1996. Ride time is 53 seconds, very short ride. Top speed 25 miles an hour. So, not super thrilling, not super crazy here. This is definitely like a starter coaster. So
it is. And again, I didn't rank this one, so we'll get into the ranking here in a second. I ranked it a little bit different because of the nostalgia factor.
Sure.
For me.
So
I felt bad putting it at number 9.
yeah. So actually, so you had it at number 8. I had it at number 9.
Yeah, you had it at number 9.
Yeah.
So, and the reason why I could not put it at number 9 was because it was both of my children's first roller coasters.
Yeah.
And for that, I just felt that I take the children out of it. It's number 9. It's a children's roller coaster. It's slow. It doesn't do much. I do like the theming. It's pretty fun. You're Goofy's a horrible pilot. You crash through a sign. And fun fact about that one: every time I ride it, when you go down the drop, you look down, hats everywhere. Hats and Mickey ears. I don't know why. I guess just the kid's first coaster.
It's got to have some thrill.
Everything's
I guess.
going.
Yeah.
Everything's
hats
going
are
flying. They're everywhere. But yeah, so that's number 8 for me because it was my kid's first coaster.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if I have not taken my kids on Barnstormer yet, so my 2 oldest, Fisher has ridden Slinky Dog at Hollywood Studios, and then my middle son Ezra has ridden Thunder Mountain. And they both got off those coasters and were like, "We hate this." So,
No.
so now if I would have, but that's why this ride is in this park. Is if I would have started them on Barnstormer, they probably would have been like, "Okay, that wasn't so bad."
Okay.
And then we probably could have. I could have convinced them, "Hey, let's go try Thunder Mountain. Let's go try Seven Dwarfs Mine Train." So that's why this ride is here. Really, it fits. Especially Magic Kingdom because it is so geared more towards younger kids. A lot of the rides are, not all of them. So yeah, it makes sense to be here. I honestly have not ridden this ride probably in like 20 years, 25 years, whatever it is. And actually, I feel like when I rode it before they changed that area to Storybook Circus, and it used to go through a barn. And actually, I have that in the notes here that let's see, in the original version, the coaster ran through a barn with chicken animatronics that were reused from World of Motion at Epcot. So when I saw that they had taken that out, because again, I hadn't been to Disney in a while, I was like, oh, it's not a great coaster, but then they took away some of the theming. So I was like, this one's definitely more, not real high here. So
yeah, that would have been cool to go through the barn. You go through the sign now, which is. It's fun. Nothing special. It's stationary. It doesn't move or anything like that. But
yeah.
Anyway, a cool concept still.
Yeah. All right. So now we're at number 8. Number 8 is Slinky Dog Dash. This is at Hollywood Studios, and our description here is take off on a family-friendly coaster that twists and turns past giant toys and springs across Andy's oversized backyard. So again, this is at Toy Story Land and Disney's Hollywood Studios. We've got a height requirement of 38 inches. Ride time 2 minutes, top speed 40 miles an hour, and this has been open since June 30th, 2018. And on your list, Bruce, it was 6th, and mine was 8th. So
yeah, I put it somewhere in the middle. I love how smooth it is.
Yeah.
I know there's the part where you kind of go over
the bunny hills. Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably like the least smooth part. But overall, it's a smooth coaster. I really like how the effects at the beginning. It's a launch coaster to an extent.
Yeah.
I like the whole coiling effect. Where you kind of go. Mm-hmm. The launch is fun.
That part is pretty cool. I think that's cool.
Yeah. So it did end up somewhere in the middle of my list for those 2 reasons: the smoothness of it and just those ride elements like the springing portion and things like that. I thought was pretty fun.
Yeah, I like that middle portion. I've only ridden it once, and I didn't even wait that long for it, which I know like that is one thing about this ride is the wait time can get really long. Like
it's crazy.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. Again, I wasn't riding it with my kids at the time. I think if they enjoyed roller coasters and then would go on it with me, it probably would rank higher. But the two rides that are like at the bottom of my list are more unthemed, and they don't have a lot of thrills. And so that kind of explains it for me. There is some good theming on this ride, like you said, like with the coiling. I think that's a good, it's a good feature when basically, and it's a second launch.
Yeah.
Which for a family coaster, that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has that. The ride actually goes back because you're riding on basically Slinky Dog from Toy Story, and so it's like he's coiling up. That part's cool. Other than that, It's kind of, you're just looking at like greenery, you know?
Yeah. I think my other favorite part of it at the end, the Wheezy, I think is singing. They're doing the karaoke.
Yeah, yeah.
There's like a little animatronic of him doing that. That part's fun too.
Yeah.
I love that part. So.
Yep. Cool. All right, so we'll move on. So this is where our this is where our list really starts to kind of go off the rails here.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
And I remember my wife telling me, she's like, you're gonna upset some people with this one.
Yeah.
So
All right, so at number 7 we have Space Mountain. Our description here: blast off on a rip-roaring rocket into the furthest reaches of outer space on this roller coaster ride in the dark. So Space Mountain is in Tomorrowland at Magic Kingdom. We've got a height requirement of 44 inches, ride time about 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Top speed is only 27 miles an hour, and this ride opened on January 15th, 1975, so it's over 50 years old at this point. Actually, the first roller coaster built at Disney World. The second roller coaster that Disney ever built, because the first one was the Matterhorn. Now, I listed this at number 2. Bruce, you listed this number 9. So this is your least favorite roller coaster at Disney World.
Which is, and that was a tough one for me because it is a very fun, again, nostalgic ride.
Yeah.
But it is probably the most, for me, uncomfortable.
Yep.
I'm probably the only one in my family that actually enjoys it on any capacity. Like every time we go, I'm like, hey, there's there might be a 20-minute wait.
Yeah.
Let's go. Most of my family's like, nah, I'm good. Here's another weird thing, fun fact about me. I don't like the way it smells.
I've never noticed the way it smells. What does it smell like?
It just has that 70s smell. It smells like it smells like a, I don't know, man. You ever go to like a, not a theme, or like a, what do you call them when like a fair or something like that, and you go into those old rides? It's what it smells like.
It smells like mildew, basically.
Yeah, and maybe it's just me, but it's uncomfortable. Nobody likes it but me, and it smells weird to me. So yeah, I had to put it at number 9.
That's fair. Yeah.
Hot take.
Yeah, mine is almost solely based on nostalgia, and it's not the first roller coaster I ever rode, but it was one of them, and for me, it is just the vibes. It's just the vibes for me. And the other thing is that I'm shorter, so the ride vehicles are not so bad for me. Like my knees are not in my chest like other people are. So I tend to be okay. If you've never ridden Space Mountain at Magic Kingdom and you've ridden Space Mountain at Disneyland, you'll probably be severely disappointed in this ride. So a lot of people, no, I've never been to any other Disney resort, but a lot of people say this is the worst Space Mountain because it has more in common with the Matterhorn at Disneyland than it has with any of the other Space Mountains around the world, because ours is the only one that has this single file ride vehicle that's it's like a sled. Yeah. It's like a sled rocket, I guess. And but it was their second coaster, and it's the only one that has 2 tracks. So we've got the Alpha and Omega track here in Florida. But man, I just love the thing I love about Space Mountain. First of all, ours is like bigger. Ours has the biggest ride building. It's iconic as you're coming up to the park. So you're just like, man, I gotta go see what's in there.
Right.
Yeah. It has this theme that is, it's not so much sci-fi, but it's like optimistic futurism. And it is, you don't see it as much in Disney anymore, but it was such like a key part of early Walt Disney World, early Walt Disney himself, like Walt Disney himself was a futurist. Yeah. And I feel like so much of that is in that ride. Even though they built it after he died, he was still, they came up with the concept like 10 years earlier. And that was the other thing I forgot to mention about this is this was the first roller coaster to have computer controlled, the first coaster to be controlled by a computer. And
like ever?
Ever.
Oh, wow.
So, a lot of roller coasters have block zones, which is basically like brake runs that, where if something goes wrong and they need to stop the coaster, they don't have they don't have a ride vehicle in more. They don't have more than one ride vehicle in a zone at a time, so that if they have to stop the ride, there's a brake zone that stops them.
Okay.
You know, or a brake run. So this was the first one that was controlled by a computer. So this one is like a lot of firsts. And yeah, so I just love the like. When I'm in, there's enough like. How do I explain this? Imagine like Space Mountain in Florida is scary. Like everybody talks about how like I feel like my hands are going to get chopped off if I put them up.
That too, because
right.
You do feel like your head's going to get knocked off.
And that's because this ride is based on real space travel, if that makes sense. Okay. Like this is more like here's what space travel might look like in 50 to 100 years. Whereas if you go on something like Guardians of the Galaxy, which we'll talk about later, it's completely science fiction.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about this one is even, and I've got to mention the music. We got to talk about the music for this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, Star Tunnel music. How do you feel about the music in the ride?
It's, I don't know if campy is the right word. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Again, it gives me the hometown fair vibe.
I got you. Now wait, are we talking about on the actual ride or in the queue?
Oh my gosh, I'm trying. It's been a while since I've been on it.
Yeah.
What's the one that has? It's like it does have that kind of. I'm thinking. I think I'm thinking more of the queue.
Okay, yeah, that's the Star Tunnel music.
Okay, yeah. Because and I feel, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like that ride could easily be at Epcot too. And there's parts when you're going through it where does it not have the layout for Epcot like displayed, or is that
that's on the People Mover?
It is on the People Mover, but the People Mover kind of goes through.
It goes through Space Mountain.
Yes, okay.
And that's what I'm talking. Like even when you're on the People Mover and you go through Space Mountain, you see like the astronauts hanging from the ship, and you're like, those are supposed to be real astronauts. They're not aliens. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what I love about it. And yeah, you're right. It does have like kind of this Epcot vibe. So that's why I really like it. The music, it is tied into Epcot because that Star Tunnel music was written by George Wilkins, who also wrote a lot of music for original Epcot rides like Horizons. So it has that same feel, and that's why like even when you get in there and they play like the part of it that has like the horns and stuff, it's so like again, it sounds very optimistic.
Yeah.
But the right amount of cheesiness. Like I get what you're saying. It's very cheesy.
Yeah.
But that's what I like about it. Okay. I like that it's like that Disney cheesy futuristic feel. So that's why I ranked it so high. So
right on.
Yeah. All right. Hopefully didn't upset anybody with that one. All right. So number 6, and I don't think we'll upset anyone with this. Number 6 is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Again, this is at Magic Kingdom, but this is in Fantasyland. Let's see. Race through a diamond mine with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs on a swing family coaster ride. We've got a height requirement of 38 inches, ride time of 2 minutes and 50 seconds, and this opened on May 28th, 2014. So, Bruce, you had this ranked at number 3, and I ranked this at number 7.
I'm actually surprised that ride is that long. It does not feel that long.
I thought so, too. I think that the coaster parts are pretty short, but then you've got the indoor scene. I think that takes up a lot more time.
Yeah. Again, for me, this one had a lot to do. Again, I've mentioned this. I'm going to beat a dead horse here. I'm getting older. Yeah. I like smooth rides. I love the carts.
Yeah.
They swing in. So you're on a track, right? Anyone hasn't been on it. Like you're in a barrel of sorts or whatever. Mm-hmm. Or is it a barrel or like a log? I can't remember.
It kind of looks like a barrel cut in half.
Yeah.
It's basic. I think what it's supposed to be is like a hopper car or something on a mine train that it's on a swivel.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing maybe they used to put mine carts on swivels so that if it went around a bend, it wouldn't tip over.
And that's my favorite part about it.
Yeah.
Because especially
it is cool.
There's a pretty tight turn, but you're not like this. You kind of you kind of have a little bit of a sway to you. Anyways, it's really smooth. Another little fun fact: I don't know how many roller coasters my mother-in-law has been on, but we went on vacation with her one time. We were telling her, the drop on that thing. It has a drop, but it's not not a big
huge.
Drop.
No.
We told her mother-in-law because she's got kind of a bad back. We're like, this is a smooth ride. The kids love it. Okay, and up until we did the drop, she came out there crying. She
Really?
didn't tell me there was a drop. I was like, I didn't think it was that bad. It's
I
like
know.
a little baby drop, but
I tell you what, though, it does come out. It does go out of the station pretty quick.
it,
Like right when you get out, it
there's
just it drops
it,
down.
It kicks you back a little
Yeah.
bit. But yeah, and then I love the 7-door. I like the animatronics in there too. It's very smooth, and the shadows going up the lift and
Yeah.
all that stuff is pretty cool.
I'd say it's very charming. It fits Fantasyland really well. I think it's, again, this is another coaster. It might not be your favorite, but it fits a perfect spot in Magic Kingdom's lineup because it is one of those, like, you can, again, height requirement 38 inches. It's not that much. A lot of people can ride it.
Yeah.
It's smooth. It's not going to have a lot of thrills, but it's charming. It's entertaining. Now, is it worth the 75-minute wait when it gets up there? Probably not.
Yeah.
Luckily, I've never had to wait that long for it. I think that's improved since Tron, since they opened Tron, and since they've taken Tron off of virtual queue. I think that's helped a little bit.
So one of my hacks, if you can even call it this, and we could probably do an episode on hacks too. But
Yeah.
so anyone that's not from this area knows it would, especially during the summer. Southern Central Florida is prone to like afternoon showers and things
Yeah.
like that, thunderstorms. They will shut that ride down faster than any outdoor coaster. Really, they'll shut down faster than anything if there's lightning within a couple of miles, right? So
Yeah.
I usually have my app open. We'll go by there. If the queue is empty, and you can hear them, they're shooing people away. Hey, the weather, we're waiting for the weather. I always have my weather app open, and I'll be like, hey, this stuff's supposed to clear up in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I'll go sit across the street at like Friar Tuck or whatever it is, the little
I can't remember. I can't think of the
Friar
actual
whatever,
name now.
or
I want to say Friars Club, but that's not
Yeah.
right.
or like the Winnie the Pooh ride. And as soon as I see that sign go down or whatever, boom. And 2 or 3 times we've been able to go ride on because of a thunderstorm. And it sucks because 180-minute long line, everyone gets kicked out.
Yeah.
You can't hang out.
Yeah. They're not going to run.
Work to my benefit.
If you're not from Florida, I know people will get upset because they go to Disney World and they feel like their vacation's ruined because of a lightning storm. Number one, this is the lightning strike capital of the world. So, you have to take it serious. So I do not blame them at all for, shutting down their outdoor rides during a thunderstorm. But do not leave the park if there is a thunderstorm.
It's going to go
Stick around. Things will open back up. They usually last maybe an hour, and luckily, if you get one in the afternoon, it can cool things down a little bit. If you get one in the morning, that's the worst because then it just heats back up and then it's just wetter outside, which is not great. So I like the animatronics in this ride as well, and I've been able to ride it 3 times.
Yeah.
I rope dropped it the last time I went, and I think I got on in like 20 minutes.
It's kind of hard to rope drop too, that one.
I was surprised, because it is one of the most popular rope drop rides, and I didn't have early theme park entry. So I was able to get on. Actually, the time before, I rope dropped Space Mountain and then went to, Space Mountain, Peter Pan, then Mine Train, and I got on in 30 minutes. And right after I got on, I saw the line like start to go out into the walkway, out between in Fantasyland. I was like, I just made it on here. I would have been waiting like 90 minutes.
That queue's not long enough. It does wrap around.
Yeah.
But speaking of the animatronics, I hear that they were reused from Snow White's Scary Adventure, which I don't think I've ever.
I'd never ridden it either. But it was an opening day attraction at Magic Kingdom. But to get into a little bit of the history, and I know this is more of a ranking podcast, but New Fantasyland, they did a big expansion of Fantasyland in the 2010s, and part of it was kind of a response to like Harry Potter at Universal. It was kind of like, what can we do right now? But originally, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train wasn't a part of that because I think the space was going to be more like princess meet and greets.
Oh, okay.
And somebody came along and was like, hey, there's nothing for the boys here. We got to have something for the boys. So they were like, let's make a roller coaster. So I think what they did is that they put all the meet and greets in where Snow White Scary Adventure used to be.
Okay.
And they're like, I guess we can't have 2 Snow White rides, so we'll just have the coaster. Also, we talked about 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea last time. This ride took the spot where 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea used to be. Now, it closed like 20 years before then.
Right.
But that's where it is now.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because after that last show too, I couldn't remember. I'm like, where even in the park was that? And that makes so much sense. It was a very central location, and I do remember being able to kind of more or less. I don't remember walking all the way around 20,000 Leagues.
No, you could only walk around the front, and then I think that was why it was a big expansion, because now you could. It basically takes up. I think 20,000 Leagues took up pretty much all the space where Seven Dwarfs is and the Little Mermaid ride, and so like now you've got 2 rides where 1 ride was before, and then all the other stuff they added as well. So. All right, we've spent way too much time on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Did not expect that. All right, let's talk about number 5. Now, this is where we were in agreement here. Number 5 is Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. We both ranked it here at number 5. This is race through an active gold mine aboard a speeding train on this thrilling roller coaster style ride. And of course, this is in Frontierland and Magic Kingdom. Like we talked about at the beginning of the show, the height requirement now is going to be 38 inches. Ride time about 3.5 minutes. This is a top speed of 35 miles an hour, and this has been open in the park since November 15th of 1980. So,
yeah, it's about time for a upgrade.
It was, yeah.
I'll make my ranking super easy. It's not smooth enough to be in the top. It's a little bumpy, but that ride is an absolute blast. It's fast. It's exciting. There's a lot of dips, a lot of turns. And then just being in the desert theming and all that, it's a great experience.
It's a great, such well themed ride. I believe this was the first roller coaster I ever rode. Was Thunder Mountain, and I got to ride it at night, which was cool.
Some of these rides are. It is a completely different experience at night.
Yeah,
that's absolutely true.
This is a good one at night for sure. And I've never ridden it during fireworks, but I hear it's amazing during fireworks. Super good theming. It's that perfect mix of it's thrilling enough to where adults are like, okay, this is fun. I'm having fun. But kids can go on it. It's got a whole animatronic scene. And one of the things that's amazing about it is like you have about 3 seconds to see the entirety of that scene, and they still put in all that effort, because if you go on the train, which the train's not open right now, which neither is Thunder Mountain, but if you go on the train and see the other side of Thunder Mountain, there's a whole there's a town there there's like a guy floating in a bathtub. Like, because it's supposed to be like a scene of a flash flood.
Yeah.
And there's the possums that swing around the tree branch. It's great. And then the inside the mountain is really cool. And like we said last show, they're updating all of that. So in the next month, we'll kind of see, what this ride holds. I would say this ride probably would have ranked higher on my list, except for that. The last time I rode it was not too long before it went down.
Okay.
I'm sure once we see how it opens, I can see it definitely getting, ranked a little bit higher. That makes sense?
Yeah. I know for the sake of time here, we got to get moving on, but I like this note here. You have each Thunder Mountain has its own town and backstory. So you were explaining that a little bit, how much effort they put into it. But you said what our Magic Kingdom's mining town is called Tumbleweed. Yeah. With the flash flood. What is this here later? Backstory was added.
Okay, so a couple things. So first of all, this is like, even though Thunder Mountain opened at Disneyland first, this is still a really big part of Disney World history, because that land was originally going to be Thunder Mesa, which was a giant expansion they had planned for Thunder Mountain or for Frontierland. Eventually, that was whittled down to just Thunder Mountain. And let's see. So yeah, Magic Kingdom's modeled after Monument Valley in Arizona. So like Disneyland and Disney World, they got built around the same time. Disneyland's was modeled after Bryce Canyon, Utah, which these are both like desert areas. Mm-hmm. Bryce Canyon has more of these kind of like, the only thing I can think of is like, you know how you ever take like wet sand at the beach and you pile it up and you get these kind of like squiggly, that's kind of what Bryce Canyon looks like in real life, except it's, hundreds of feet tall or whatever. So that's what theirs looks like. Magic Kingdoms is modeled after Monument Valley, which is like any Western movie that you've ever seen before. These big buttes and mesas and stuff. And then the town in Magic Kingdom is called Tumbleweed. And I think if you look into it, there's like some backstory about that this town hasn't had like a flood or hasn't had rain in years. And then because of this curse on the mountain, now they're having like this flash flood. So that's what's happening when you go through that scene. Okay. And then the last thing is I think sometime they added more to the backstory, and now part of the backstory is that the mine is owned by this tycoon named Barnabas T. Bullion, and his portrait looks just like Imagineer Tony Baxter, who was the one who created Thunder Mountain. So if you don't know what Tony Baxter looks like, just go look for that portrait. Yeah. So I'm sure that we'll see like some expansion to that lore when the ride opens.
Easter eggs.
Yeah, there's tons of Easter eggs in this ride. So,
man, this next one. This was probably the toughest one. This is the one that moved up and down my list.
Yeah, this is tough.
Several times.
Yeah. So this is number 4 is Tron Light Cycle Run. Speed across a world with no horizons in a high-stakes race based on the sci-fi film Tron Legacy, which most of you probably did not see. This is in Tomorrowland at Magic Kingdom. Height requirement of 48 inches. Top speed of 59 miles an hour. Ride time of 1 minute. And this opened April 4th, 2023. So I think this is the newest coaster on the list here. Tell me about your first impressions of Tron, and have they changed? How many times? I don't know how many times you've ridden it. But
I've been on it 3 times.
Okay.
And we've always, again, horrible memory. We'd always pay that extra. It's like $18.
The individual lightning.
The individual lightning lane. We did that every time because I'm not waiting in that line. And then there was the other part where you could get up and you could get on the
virtual queue.
Like the virtual queue, and then they tell you to come back, but then you're still waiting in line. It was a whole mess. So I was like, you know what? Anyways, we did it. The kids hated it the first time, but there's a couple things that I really like about it. The launch is really fun. Mm-hmm. I love where it spits you outside for that brief moment, and then you can see all the people waiting and all that. Those are probably the 2 best things about it. It is a fun coaster. It is way too short. I'm not a huge fan of the Tron movies, period. But the only other really cool thing that I really like about it's the only coaster that I know that they have that like does like a cool video view at the end. Yeah, and it automatically spits out like it's like real time, and then as soon as you pass by, it goes into slow motion. Yeah, and everybody's faces. It is worth riding that ride just to see your kids' faces at the end. Yeah. Now, I've never gotten my kids on Tron, but I can tell you I look ridiculous in all those videos. Yeah. I looked at the one from the last time. I was like, oh, okay. I'm not sharing that with anybody. I like this ride a lot. So actually, the first time I rode it, I had driven 6 or 7 hours from where we live to Magic Kingdom, and I had an annual pass at the time. So, I got to the park at 9:00 at night, and I wasn't, burning a whole park day or whatever, a whole park ticket. So I got there, rode a couple rides. I got on right before the park closed, and I was probably pretty tired at that point. Mm-hmm. And just to be launched at 60 miles an hour after like a full day, like a full work day, and then a full like 6 hours of driving, I was just like, whoa, this is intense. Wake you up. Yeah. I love, like, the first time I remember there's part of the queue where you actually walk in and you can, see the launch. I was like, oh my gosh, like the sound effects were like just booming in my chest, and I was like, this is gonna be intense. So I've only ridden it twice. I have to say I've had like the best conditions because I've ridden it at night both times, and it's good at night because you go outside and you're under the canopy, and you can neon lights and everything that flash on the canopy. Exactly. So I've had a great experience with it.
I know that but it is very short. Is probably
Too short.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's only a minute long.
I will say the last thing I'm going to say about this ride before we go is the queue is pretty awesome. You go into the thing and it the whole spiel. But there's something about after you go through the little video segment of it when the doors open, and you get into the area where you're the final stretch before you actually get on the coaster. It's exhilarating for some reason to me, like just the music playing, and then they've got the big screen up there with the races going on, and it gets your heart pounding a little bit for what's coming up.
Exactly. And also, if you've never seen this ride, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with it, but it is like it's like you're riding a motorcycle, or like a very fast motorcycle. So you are like in the speed position on a bike, right? So you're like facing forward. So that launch is really intense, I would say, especially like the first time. But yeah, after that it gets a little. It's not super thrilling after that. It's in the dark, so it's very cool. But
so
again.
Did we say I had that one at my number 4?
Yeah,
and that was your.
That was my number 4 too.
Okay, so number 4.
Both of these were on our. Yeah,
yeah, that one did move up and down for me a couple times.
Yep.
So.
Okay, so here we go. So this is gonna. Even though so we're at our top 3, and I still think this is gonna make people mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, number 3 we have Guardians of the Galaxy: Cosmic Rewind. All right, race. Oh, I put the wrong one in there. That's okay. All right, so I'm not going to have the description for this one, but of course, this features characters from Guardians of the Galaxy. This is in Epcot in the World Discovery area. We've got a height requirement of 48 inches. This opened on May 5th, 2022, and ride time here is 3 minutes and 20 seconds. We have a top speed of 60 miles an hour, and I guess to give you a little synopsis of it is you're like careening through space on this roller coaster that has, they call it an omni coaster. Some people say it's a spinning coaster. It doesn't really spin, but it rotates around. It's a controlled spin, so it's not like you're just like a top spinning out of control. It kind of moves you towards
different
scenes
the
and
action.
stuff. Yeah. I had this at number 1, and Bruce, you had this at number 7.
And there's a very specific reason for that.
Yeah.
That is the only roller coaster on this list that makes me nauseous.
Makes sense.
That is literally the only reason why it's that far down, because the opening is nothing short of amazing. The whole beginning scene is just engineering marvel in and of itself. The backwards launch is awesome. The soundtrack is awesome.
Oh yeah.
Everything about that ride is awesome, but it makes me sick.
Yeah. It does that to some people, because I know you're not the only one. I know that other people have gotten sick on this ride.
Yeah.
I don't like spinning, but I would say this is not to me, this is like, it's not like a spinning coaster.
Yeah.
I would say it's almost just pivots. The only time you really do like a full 180 spin is out of that backwards launch.
Yeah.
But I describe this ride as like a dopamine machine.
Okay.
I love this ride so much. It makes I can't explain it other than just it makes me feel so good.
Yeah.
So first of all, the music is amazing. You've got those, there's like 6 songs you can get. And it's all at random, so you never know what song you're going to get. But just the movement of it is perfect to me. I love the part where you look like you're like revolving around the moon, or you're like orbiting the moon.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And for a ride it is very like screen heavy, but the screens are just massive.
Sure.
They like take up the entire, I don't know how big they are, but they look like they're probably like 100-foot tall screens. They're massive.
They're huge.
To me, it's I describe it as like a mix of Space Mountain and like the Spider-Man ride at Islands of Adventure.
Okay.
So to me, it's just perfect. I don't know how else to say it. Last time I rode it, it like broke down while I was in line.
Sure.
So, and it actually was like,
that ride breaks down?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never seen it break down.
They were actually the entire time I was there last time. The pre-show didn't work at all,
Oh wow.
and so actually the first 2 times I wrote it, we just skipped the pre-show entirely, which I know that like probably people who are locals would love that because it is a very long pre-show. I like the pre-show, but
Yeah.
so the first 2 times I wrote it, we skipped it entirely. The second time they did like a lesser version of it. I'll just say that. But I waited over an hour and a half for it. And there's some rides where like the longer you wait, the worse the ride is.
Okay.
Like I rode like Flight of Passage is like that for me, where I had to wait a really long time for it. And I was kind of disappointed because I was like, everybody says this ride's so great, but I had to wait so long that it kind of spoiled it for me. I waited that, 95 minutes or whatever it was. And I just, when I got, it made it that much sweeter. I don't know. It was like, this was so worth it. And I remember having like, just like a bliss moment as I'm orbiting the moon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this must be what it feels like on Artemis too, getting to go around the moon.
That's
so,
funny.
So that's me. What songs have you gotten on this?
We definitely. So the one that we get all the time is Blondie.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
We've gotten the Earth, Wind, and Fire one time. The what is that song?
September.
And then we've gotten Everybody Wants to Rule the World. So I think I've been on that ride 4 times maybe.
Yeah.
And we got the same song twice in a row, and then I think the other times we got. But I don't remember how many options there are. It's something like 7 or 8 or something.
There's
like that.
6. Yeah.
6. Okay.
So yeah, I've also gotten Blondie 3 times. The 5 times that I've been on it. So and one time it was 2 in a row. Like I wrote it, got one way or another, got back in line, got one way or another again.
And that's a huge bummer because that is one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons why that ride is so repeatable. Is because you want that. It's like that chasing that high of trying to get the next song. And when you waste either money or your time and you end up getting the same song,
Yeah.
it's a huge letdown. But then when you finally do get a song that, especially one that you're wanting, because we all go into it going, God, I hope I get this one. I hope I get this one. And when you get that song, it makes the ride that much better.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. Have you been since they got rid of virtual queue?
No.
Okay.
Because I want to say the last time we went was probably it was 2025.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Or, no, sorry, 2024.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now there's no virtual queue, so it's a lot easier to get on. I mean, it's still going to be like an hour wait probably, but it's honestly like it's not as bad as something like Flight of Passage, which I feel like it always is so long still for whatever reason. All right. So now we're at number 2 now, and we're going over to Hollywood Studios for Rock and Roller Coaster, starring Aerosmith. Now, right now, of course, Rock and Roller Coaster is closed right now as they change it from Aerosmith to the Muppets, but we're going off of the Aerosmith version here. So, Bruce, this is your number 1, and for me, it was number 6.
Yeah. I was intrigued by our differences on this one.
Yeah. So, race along darkened freeways of LA in a super stretched limo to the tunes of Aerosmith. This is in Sunset Boulevard at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Height requirement of 48 inches. Ride time of 1 minute and 22 seconds. We've got a top speed of 57 miles an hour. And actually, it makes that at 2.8 seconds because it is a launch coaster. And this opened on July 29th, 1999. So I will just say I like this ride. It's a lot of fun. And like I said, this is the only coaster at Disney that goes upside down that has inversions. I think it's a really fun ride profile. The theming is fine. I think it's good. And it's a little short. For me, I guess why I ranked it at number 6, it's a little short. After those first couple, like maybe 20 seconds, I feel like it does a lot of kind of meandering. You're like, okay, this is good. This is fine. I also never got to experience the pre-show because I wrote it later. And also I don't have nostalgia for this ride, which is probably another reason. I talked about on the last episode, I have like a 25-year gap in my, or 20, was it 20 or 20? I have like a 20-year gap in my Disney World experience.
Sure.
And before 2024, the last time I had been to Hollywood Studios was in 1998. And I was watching them build Rock and Roller Coaster, but I'd never got to ride it. So I don't have nostalgia for this ride. So that's probably what's influencing me here.
This one made it to the top of my list, again, as my number one. Just because out of all the roller coasters there, it is the only one that does inversions and things like that. And that's probably it. I'm not a huge Aerosmith fan. I do like, rock music, things like that. So
I like rock and roll.
Yeah, I like rock and roll. And that's the main reason. It does the inversions and everything. I do like the launch. I like launch coasters.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's very dark. So, and this is the only one that I know, besides Guardians, this one's blaring rock and roll music.
Yeah.
Like the speakers are right here. You're going through the corkscrews. Everything's neon. There's this way to LA signs. And you're in a limousine.
Yeah.
The whole thing is pretty awesome. It is getting dated. I mean, Aerosmith, I don't know, you don't hear anything about Aerosmith anymore, so it kind of makes sense to me that they're moving on. And then I find it interesting here that you have that two other bands were considered, the Rolling Stones, who are apparently way too expensive,
yeah,
and U2 just flat out said, no, thank you.
No. They're like, not Disney, no.
I'd be curious to see how much Aerosmith actually got from this.
I wonder how much of it was just like they were finishing up the soundtrack for Armageddon and they were just like, would you like to also have a roller coaster at Disney World? And they were like, yeah, man. So, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, Aerosmith is kind of a funny, it's a funny choice, but at the same time, I mean, it was open for how long? Like 25 years? Something like that? Yeah. 99.
I mean, it made its mark, that's for sure.
So what's funny is I feel like there's got to be kids who are like have an appreciation for Aerosmith just from this ride, not because they were Aerosmith fans before.
Yeah.
I was not one of them, but had I been to Hollywood Studios, in the early 2000s, maybe, who knows?
And I guess for me growing up, like my family, I had people in my family that listen to Aerosmith. My dad listened to Aerosmith, so for me it was different. So this generation's going into it not knowing who they are, leaving knowing who they are. I went into it knowing who they are, and so I don't know. I did the first time I remember riding it probably wasn't. I think we talked about this last time. I think early 2000s was like the first time you had the large gap when I didn't go. So it's like the early 2000s probably the first time I went back.
Yeah.
So this roller coaster was relatively new at that time.
And it was, it was a big step for Disney. I mean, this is a time when they were really trying to build rides that appealed to teenagers, young adults. I mean, this is the whole era when you get Tower of Terror, Alien Encounter, things that were more geared towards, that were a little bit more edgy.
Sure.
And I'm glad that they're doing the Muppets, and I'm glad that at least the Muppets are sticking around. But, it's definitely, this is kind of it's from a bygone era, I guess, so to speak. Having something like Aerosmith, and like them making a conscious decision to say, like, we're going to put a rock band in a Disney park because, we got that edge, or whatever it is. So, yeah. All right. Well, we have finally made it to number one, and I have no qualms with this here. So on number one for our list here is Expedition Everest at Animal Kingdom. Careen through icy Himalayan peaks on a speeding train while avoiding the clutches of the mythic Yeti. So we've got a height requirement of 44 inches. Ride time is 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Top speed of 50 miles an hour. And this has been operating since April 7th of 2006. So
I love this ride. I wish, and not very many people got to experience the Yeti in its full effect, but I'm sure we could do an entire episode on this ride alone and engineering and everything. But I love this ride mainly for two reasons. It's got the biggest drop.
Yeah.
And I love the part where you're careening through the caverns and everything, and then you get to the end, and the track's just broken, and then you do the little backwards element there. Fun fact on this one too, at the end, I don't know what it is about people that like to flick the hair ties.
Yeah,
there's hair ties everywhere. I don't understand that.
I heard it started with like cheer groups, which checks out.
Yeah, it's it's kind of a neat thing, but at the same time, when you get up there, you're like, God, is someone gonna come up here and like clean this up at some point or what? But
yeah, it's a unique problem. I feel like just Expedition Everest. Yeah, so you get to the top of the mountain, and of course the track looks like it's been pulled up. But yeah, there's all these hair ties, and I guess at some point that became a. Actually, I think it makes sense because the whole theme is Everest, and Mount Everest is famously now like covered in trash from people climbing it.
Oh, yeah, leaving the oxygen tanks and
right. So I guess in that way, it's very realistic and very authentic.
Everest must be littered with hair ties.
That's right. All those granola people. All those, yeah, that's right. If you've ever met anybody who's been into like rock climbing or something, that checks out.
Yeah.
Not that they leave stuff around, but that they use a lot of hair ties. Mm-hmm. You ranked this at number 2. I ranked this at number 3, and which is funny that it's number 1, but because of some of our bigger differences, this made it to where this is the one that we agreed on. It was in both in our top 3. Yeah, this is a great ride. I mean, this is like, it's a newer ride for me. It's new because I think I only rode it for the first time a couple years ago, but it's fantastic. The theming is amazing. Any Disney coaster that is a train and inside a mountain just makes total sense. The theming is so good. And then of course you've got the Yeti, which if you don't know the backstory of that, there's a giant Yeti animatronic on the ride that's like a 25-foot tall figure, and it broke after like the first 6 months of the ride being in operation. They haven't been able to fix it, or it's too costly. There's lots of rumors of why. So now, it gets this nickname Disco Yeti because they just flash they have a strobe light on it to kind of give the effect of it moving. But it's still impressive to see. And that's the thing that's
huge.
That's the thing that is impressive about this ride is you have one animatronic on it and it's broken, and it's still one of the best rides at Disney World.
Yeah.
So it is, it's the coaster itself is really, really awesome.
I wonder because even in its heyday, which was short lived, and the animatronic was just too big and too strong for the ride. Right, to crack the foundations, all that stuff. Like it's just they can't turn it on. It would literally tear the coaster apart.
Yeah.
But like, even if it was in its full effect, you fly by it so fast. I wonder if you would even get to experience it.
I know. I saw someone on, I think it was on Threads, say, because one of the things that people assume is that the animatronic is so big that to get in there and say they have to replace it, that to get in there and to replace it or do whatever they have to do, like maybe they have to take the entire mountain apart. It's actually the mountain's actually 3 different structures. It's the coaster, which it's for an engineering reason, is the coaster has to be movable in the sense that like it's not a rigid structure. It has to flex because it's got the coaster moving on it. The mountain is a rigid structure because it has to just stay in place. But the Yeti itself is so big and powerful, they had to build a 3rd structure for it. But apparently it was too powerful, and there's something, people think there's something with the structure, and that's why they don't replace it. But anyways, this person was saying, just put in like a 10-foot tall Yeti, because they have one on the Matterhorn at Disneyland. And I'm like, I would rather have the giant broken Yeti than a 10-foot working Yeti.
Yeah.
Because the last time I rode it, I really thought it was moving. I was like, oh my gosh, they fixed it. Because it was intense. And I'm like, the strobe light, it's a cheap effect.
Yeah.
Disney has been built on cheap effects for years. I don't care. Yeah.
Because honestly, I didn't for the longest time. I didn't know that thing ever moved like it was supposed to, and B, I thought it was moving.
Yeah.
Because of the strobe lights. So the strobe lights are very, like you said, like just kind of practical effect, and it gets the job done. It does, it does in effect look like he's moving, but literally, you you do the drop, and it got to be a half a second.
It's a couple seconds maybe, but you go by so fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, last time I rode it, I got to ride it at night, which is rare because Animal Kingdom is rarely open at night.
Right.
It was amazing. It was also like 30 degrees outside, so it worked like I was like, I am in the Himalayas. It feels cold. It's dark. And I feel like the darkness, and maybe it's because of like your eyes being not having to adjust to the darkness or something. I feel like that's part of the reason why it looked like the Yeti was moving. Because this ride, it takes place inside the mountain. It comes out. It goes in and out through these caverns and stuff. So you come out of the mountain, and then at some point you go back in, and that's when you see the Yeti. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's moving. It really did look realistic. So if you ever have the chance to ride Everest at night, it really like elevates it even more.
And especially when you come out like that in the drops, right? Because it does a little whoop, and then you're down in the drop. You don't get to see the park in its entirety for too long, but you do get to see.
You can see you can see all the property around you.
It is pretty awesome.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, that's it. We ranked all 9 roller coasters.
That's right.
I probably upset some people. I don't know. I feel like there's going to be there's a couple hot takes in there, but
I feel like but you know what? I think it's relatable for a lot of people.
Sure.
Because there are people who love roller coasters, and more thrill the better. But for a lot of people, they don't want their face torn off like in the middle of a ride or whatever.
Nope.
They don't want to. I know there's like certain coasters like the over the head restraints are really uncomfortable for them or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I totally get where you're coming from. And especially I have the problem of my kids won't go on coasters. Mm-hmm. So I'm already kind of going on it either alone or actually, when Caitlin and we've only ridden Everest doing a single rider because somebody has to be with the kids, which another tip for you, if single rider at Everest works really, really well.
Okay.
So if you're willing to go by yourself, you won't have to wait long. But yeah, totally makes sense that, things that are, I don't know, if something's uncomfortable, something like Space Mountain, that it's like, who cares about nostalgia at that point if your back hurts?
No joke. I do want to do some relaxing after, not because I'm broken. I just want to relax because I want to.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, that's it. Again, ranked all 9 coasters at Disney. I hope everyone enjoyed the show.
Yep.
Check us out on Spotify. We are on Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Subscribe, all that good stuff.
Yep. You can write us a review. Make sure it's 5 stars, please.
Yeah, and check out Park Mapping on Instagram.
That's right.
A lot of good posts on there.
That's right.
So that's it.
All right. See you next time.
All right. See ya.